Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts. Congressman, nice to see you on this Sunday evening. We went through what we've seen unfold in Gaza and in Tel Aviv over the last 24 hours. And it occurs to me that this is really a push and pull that is the heart of this war, which is the IDF saying that it has killed 2 senior Hamas officials. And also we are getting reports that civilians were killed in this, including many women and children at this refugee camp. What do you think this means as these talks will resume in the next several days to try to find some sort of ceasefire and hostage deal?
Good evening, Jessica. Thanks for having me back on your show. What we have seen tonight and for the last several nights really just emphasizes again the barbarity of Hamas. Hamas, which of course started this war on October 7th by butchering more than 1,000 Israelis. Hamas, which still has 100 hostages, including 8 Americans, and which is hiding those hostages and its own senior military commanders within civilian infrastructure. It's creating a terrible set of conundrums for the Israeli Defense Forces, which are trying to operate to the highest standards, but still take on their military imperative of defeating Hamas so that we can have a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Insofar as Hamas controls the levers of power in Gaza, there will be no permanent ceasefire. They've broken half a dozen in the last 15 years, and they'll break more.
And so what do you think, or what kind of expectations, let's say, do you have for these talks that will resume on Tuesday?
There's low trust, of course. Israel really can only trust one country in this world, and that's the United States. And it has to negotiate with countries like Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, which in the best of times have been double-faced with Israel, and in the worst of times have been trying to destroy Israel. But we need these negotiations to resume because they are the best chance that we have to get these hostages home. I met last week with the parents of Hirsch Goldberg Poland. He is a young man who was at the music festival, had his arm blown off, has since spent more than 6 months in a terror tunnel somewhere in Gaza, needing medical attention. And his best chance to be reunited with his parents, to be reunited with his sisters, is for these negotiations to proceed and for Egypt and Qatar to put more pressure on Hamas to finally do what's right, not just for the hostages, but for the Palestinian people.
And the International Court of Justice issued an order on Friday calling on Israel to stop its military operation in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. But it doesn't sound like realistically you see that happening.
Israel needs to control the Rafah crossing with Egypt. Otherwise, Hamas is going to re-equip, it's going to rearm, and it's going to resume this war. Hamas, insofar as it is extant, insofar as it has the materiel and the manpower and the levers of power in Gaza to fight, will fight, and it will pursue its own charter to destroy the state of Israel and kill Jews worldwide. So Israel needs to cut off that supply line to Egypt, and it has since de-scoped much of its operations after pressure from President Biden. And it just demonstrates that the back and forth between the war cabinet and the administration, while frustrating at times, does produce better strategy. Now, not the strategy that we need, to be clear. And in fact, Netanyahu's own war cabinet has really turned on him and said, we need a plan that integrates governance in Gaza with these military operations. That aligns Gallant and Gans with Biden in saying that while military operations are one important element of defeating Hamas, you can't fight something with nothing. We need a plan for governance as well.
And also the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, has invited Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to speak to a joint session of Congress. Do you support that move?
Well, I think the most important conversation that Netanyahu can have right now is not with Congress, it's with his own war cabinet. There are 3 voting members of the war cabinet, one of whom is Netanyahu. The other 2 don't agree with him right now. So he should really be focused on those conversations and making sure he's aligned with them and with the President of the United States. I've attended every address by a head of government to Congress since I've been in office. I intend to attend those as the default, but that's in August. It's May right now. A month is a year right now in Middle East terms. I'm not even really thinking about that. I'm thinking about his own conversations with the war cabinet. I'm thinking about these hostage negotiations next week.
And before I let you go, I do want to talk about tomorrow, Memorial Day. You served in Afghanistan as a Marine commander. And I just want to ask you if there's anything you do on Memorial Day to mark it and what it signifies to you.
Tomorrow, I'm going to be thinking about the moms and dads in particular in service and those who lost their lives. That picture of me, I was a kid and felt invincible and didn't have children of my own. And now that I have 3 little ones, 4, 3, and 1, the idea of leaving them, of going into harm's way, it frankly is at a different level. And so I'm thinking about those parents who gave the utmost of themselves and frankly of their families for this country, and that we be the kind of country that deserves it.
Yeah, it is for so many people, of course, the mark of summer, the beginning of summer, and it is a fun, good day, but it is also such a somber day in the sense that we do honor and give our thanks to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Semper Fidelis, Jessica.